Hi, okay. I forgot my whole story. Okay, so once upon a time, I was going to be a doctor, and so I was working in the psychiatric department in a hospital, doing research and interviews with schizophrenic patients. And one day, I was sitting with a patient, we will call him Butch, and I said, hey, Butch, hold on a second, I have to check your medical records, see your status before we really dive into this. And in the holy section is a note that Butch is a repeat sex offender. Okay, I'm not gonna freak out. I mean, sex offender can cover a lot of ground. I mean, sex offense can technically be peeing in public, so maybe that's just Butch's thing. He got caught a lot peeing in public. So I keep going, and we talk about his life and his psychotic breaks and his prison time, and then Butch just sort of casually mentions that he was a rapist for a while. Dude, I'm gonna be a doctor, all right? I can roll with this. This is fine. So I sit and I mean, there's blaring, demented circus music playing in my head, but I'm still thinking, I can handle this. So 4 hours pass, and I get home to my husband. I run in the living room. Oh my God, Jake, I have to tell you about what happened today. And I blurt it all out, and he says, oh my God, he was a rapist? I say, yes, it was terrible. And Jake says, and he just told you he was a rapist? Yes! What did he say exactly? He said for 5 years he was a gangbanger in Detroit. So at this point, Jake puts his arm on me and is like, oh, honey, haven't you ever listened to a rap song? Gangbanger means someone who fights in gangs. This is some bull, right? I've been freaking out for hours now at this point. I'm like, we're gonna burn off our fingertips tonight and move to Mexico. Like, there's no way I'm trusting my sexual safety on my white, goofy husband's, like, street lingo acumen. So I wanna get into a huge fight with him, but now we're late to go meet Joe and Julie. And Joe and Julie, we've never met before. They were recommended by mutual friends. They were described as the Kennedys. He's in the Navy. She's a designer. They have a beautiful child, a beautiful son, a beautiful daughter, a beautiful house, future, past, whole thing. And they were recommended to us as, you know, a good influence on the hipster, semi-homeless mess that is Jake and I. So not only are we meeting new people, but we want to make a good impression. So we get to the restaurant, and Julie is doing the, like, Pinot whole thing. Joe is like nursing a scotch, and we get there, and I'm trying so hard to keep it together. But after about 15 minutes of breastfeeding discussion and mortgages and taxes these days, I just blurt out, I'm sorry, but what do you guys think of when you hear the term gangbanger? So Julie has the wine, you know, frozen halfway up. Rape? Joe? Someone who fights in gangs? Pan to my husband, who's like, okay, she's had a rough day. So Jake tries to explain why his, you know, seemingly insane wife is bringing up gangbangers in this way, and is trying to provide the original context that Butch said it. So to this, Joe says, oh, well then definitely he meant someone who fights in gangs, and I'm pretty skeptical. So then Julie says, you know, I don't know if I would have known that. I would have thought rape. And Jake says, well, think about it. He said he did it for 5 years. I don't think people career identify as, you know, serial rapists. So I'm not really buying any of this shit, but I can't push it further. I mean, I'm the crazy gangbanger lady now, so I have to drop it. So Jake says, as a way of moving on, maybe it's a gender thing. I'm fuming, right? I mean, first of all, I'm seriously considering my marriage. Second of all, what kind of doctor am I gonna make if I don't even understand casual rap references? So I'm sort of having a meltdown, and I'm zoning out, you know, sulking into my beer, and Then when I tune back into the conversation, it's Joe and Julie are talking about movies. And the movies that they're probably going to see right now without us, like, we need to get out of here. And they're talking about the latest, like, Oscar contenders or whatever. Jake and I have seen none of these movies. So now I think Jake is feeling embarrassed because he seemingly has, like, a wife with Tourette's, and we're, like, you know, uncultured. And so Jake says, as a way of explanation, Inga doesn't like adult films. Adult films? Adult films. So I'm sitting there thinking, that sounds a lot like porn. But I'm the gangbanger chick, so I'm not gonna say anything. So I look over at Joe and Julie, and they both are like, and I'm thinking, it's only really fair. I'll just see how it plays out. So Jake keeps talking, and he says, yeah, she makes me watch them alone. Sometimes I wait till she leaves town, and I have a marathon. Then he says, hey, Julie, when Joe is deployed, you should come over and watch them with me. So, right at the point where you're like, one of us is gonna end up on the news in a fight tonight, Jake says something about how Pixar and Finding Nemo were like too emotionally advanced for me, and Julie bursts out laughing. Oh my God! You mean films made for adult audiences? And Jake looks at me sort of confused, like, what is happening? And I put my hand on his shoulder and I say, oh, honey, haven't you ever listened to a rap song? Adult films means porn. But maybe it's just a gender thing.